A tournament's coming up, and guess who's participating in it? Hello everyone, my name is Anthony, and welcome to Nexus Elestrals. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my first ever deck tech on the channel. Now, if you kind of followed me back during my Magic Moolah days, I attempted a couple here or there, but they were on decks I didn't put together and I didn't really know much about. This, though, is the opposite. I made this from the ground up, handpicking cards that were special to me, I enjoyed using, and I think would be fun if kind of assembled. Now, Eagle the Duck took some time out of his day to review this deck and give me pointers on what should be taken out, what should be put in, etc. So I think I've refined it enough where it's fairly effective for my goal, but comment down below what changes I should make, because I'm kind of an Elestrals PvP noob and will take as much criticism as you're willing to give. But with all that being said, I don't want to spoil too much, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so let's jump right on into this deck tech. And the deck that I'm going to be showing you today is the one I'm going to be using in the tournament that is coming up. But it is also a Glidesdale deck. I know, it's basically the opposite of meta, but I was never building this deck for meta in the first place. Not only is me and Glidesdale's relationship a bit choppy, if you're a regular on the channel, you know what happened, but it's also using an element that is my favorite, which is wind. So I kind of took all of those reasons and ran with it. So again, Eagle the Duck did refine this a bit because it's hard to take a non-meta deck into a tournament or into a match without it being refined the best it can. And I know it partially relies on the player that's playing it, but I think it's at a point where I'm happy with it, it's fun to use, and it does exactly what I'm looking for. So let's just jump right on into it. And once again, if you have things that I should be switching out, please let me know. Just don't take out my main win condition, or else the whole idea of the deck kind of goes out the window. So starting off with the Elestrals, we have Aeromare. Now I feel like Aeromare is one of those cards that is very reliable. Having a 4 attack, 5 defense, it's great to get out early game, and I like experimenting with the effect that the card gives you, which is when you ascend, you use it as an artifact to empower that ascended Elestral. It's really cool, haven't gotten too much time to play around with it, but having 3 of them in this deck comes in handy. Here's our main win condition. Glidesdale. Not only is the full art beautiful, but Glidesdale here is our main damage dealer. He's the guy I'm trying to get out, he's the guy that I'm trying to destroy Elestrals with, and so far has come in pretty handy with a staggering 7 attack, 5 defense. Now this is really the ace in the pocket, and that is Sorlet, which I have 3 of within this deck. And the reason I like Sorlet so much is because of its 5 attack. I found 9 times out of 10 when I place it down first turn, it lasts a turn, meaning it isn't instantly destroyed once it's placed down, which allows me to ascend into Glidesdale in like turns after that. And I also kind of like its effect simply because of the Cerebro play. It was a whole thing because we didn't know if it targeted or not, but in the end it helped Cerebro win, so it kind of stayed with me. And then pairing with the Sorlet, we have 2 copies of Chrysor. Now the reason I have Chrysor in here is because I can't simply just have Glidesdale as a win condition. Eagle the Duck pointed this out to me. Glidesdale isn't efficient enough to win games by itself, so having Chrysor in there, it's kind of similar to Glidesdale with a good amount of attack and only it being a 2 cost. So if Glidesdale isn't being pulled or both of them are destroyed, Chrysor can hopefully do the trick. And then the final 2 cards of my Wind Elestrals is 2 copies of P-Gust. And P-Gust is kind of that missing puzzle piece that tied this deck together, simply because of its ability being able to target and destroy a rune. So if I'm in a pinch, P-Gust comes into play. Now, moving on to the Thunder Elestrals, because we have a little bit of a Thunder package, I have 2 copies of Astrabbit. Astrabbit, great to fall back on. Being able to look at the top 3 cards of the deck and pick one is game-changing and has helped me out a couple of times before. And finally, for the Elestrals, we have 2 copies of Elichik. Once again, Elichik is a staple in most of the decks I've attempted to put together, simply because it searches out Divine Runes, and Divine Runes are some of the strongest runes in the game, so getting that turn 1 or turn 2 could turn the tables and allow you to win. So those are the Elestrals in the deck. I personally like them. Now, initially when I was building this deck, I had way too many, and Eagle the Duck came in and said, "Whoa man, calm down with the Elestrals, you need more runes." So now we are going to move into the runes of this deck, and they're fairly straightforward. Starting off, we have 2 Bag of Winds. It's our artifact, it comes in handy, and it pairs well with Aeolus, which I also have 2 copies of in this deck. Aeolus is the Divine Rune. Being able to search out 1-cost Wind Elestrals allows me to get Arrowman, Sorlin, P-Gust. It's awesome, and almost every single game I've used Aeolus's abilities to try and grab the win. Keyword try, because I barely win. Next up, we have 2 Island of Aeolia. It's a stadium rune. I think you should always try to have a stadium rune, because not only does it help your deck that you are building, but it can also stop your opponent from playing their stadium runes, because you can only have 1 in play at a time. Continuing on with the Wind package, we have 3 copies of Tornado. And the reason I have 3 copies of Tornado is because I get to target and return a rune to the opponent's hand. Runes are the bane of my existence. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. Get them off the field. Now moving on to our generic runes, we have 3 Ambrosia. I find Wind is a very spirit-heavy kind of deck combo, so being able to return spirits from the underworld is always great to have. Now, to be annoying back to the opponent, we have 3 copies of Shield of Achilles. Again, it's very defensive, and if I'm trying to get a large package push on the field, having Shield to block opponents' attacks is always really nice. The same thing with PTA, which I have 2 of. There should be 3 in this deck, but I only have 2 physical copies. So in the tournament, I will have 3, but for the time being, there's only 2. Same with Gorgon's Gaze. I only have 2 copies of that. They are starter deck exclusives. I only got 1 starter deck of each, so I only had 2. Don't worry though, I bought more. So to make up for that, I've inputted 2 Resting on Your Laurels. Kind of does the same thing, kind of doesn't, but it's a rune nonetheless, filling in the place. And then to finish it off, always helping me out in the pinch, I have 3 copies of Earthquake. I place it down, I instantly destroy an Elestral, bada bing, bada boom. Sometimes there's some powerhouses where I really need this on my side. And those are the runes of this deck. Now, before we get on into what the side deck is, because for this tournament, I need a side deck, I'm going to cover the spirits. So, the spirits in this deck are once again fairly predictable. It's a mainly Wind package, so I mainly have these Wind spirits. Right here we have, I'm pretty sure, 13 Lycris. We have 4 Teratlis, allowing me to use Earthquake. And then I have 3 Zapdos. So I can play Elichik, I can play Astrabbit, etc. And finally, I know this is stretching on, we have our side deck here. And the side deck is the piece where I'm struggling with the most. I can't really think that far ahead. So please, comment down below if you have any better ideas than what I have here. Starting off, I have 2 copies of Boombat. I personally like Boombat. Being able to instantly destroy an Elestral when you disenchant it always comes in handy. So I got 2 of them here. I also have 2 copies of Raceros. If I'm not playing a Thunder deck, I will probably put this in, because having that 1 turn advantage if they aren't enchanted with Thunder is always nice to have. So I got 2 copies of that. I have 3 Altar of the Stars, or Altar of Stars. Being able to change position of Elestral it's always great to have. I don't know how much Nexusing I will be doing or that I need, so this is kind of a filler for right now because I know a lot of other decks use it. Tsunami, though, on the other hand, is something Eagle the Duck said I should include. I didn't want to include it in the main deck, though, or else that would be 4 types of Spirit, so the Spirit deck is where it will reside. Once again, changing to the defense position is always nice to have, and paired with that is 2 Leviathan, so then I can input those into the deck and change the position, because without these Leviathans, I can't use Tsunami. And that is that. During this whole ordeal of making this deck, I really contemplated on announcing it to the world, especially when I'm going to be using this in the upcoming tournament, but I'm coming in here to have a great time. I really wanted to show you my first ever deck I fully 100% put together, and I'm pretty proud about my progression from when Elestrals first came out and my deck building skills till now. So if any of you are that dead set on studying my deck, studying the counters, and then somehow getting in a game with me and absolutely demolishing me, go ahead, because at that point, kudos to you, man. You did great. You absolutely crapped on me. But I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, leave those comments down below on what I should change, especially in that side deck. And if you would like to see more videos, hitting the like button and the subscribe button is the way to do it. Now, I hope I see you at the tournament this weekend, but if not, I hope you're cheering me on. And this is Anthony, Nexusing off the video. Peace.